All right, let's try this again. Man, one thing about a small office studio, actually, it's not even a studio, it's just my office. So, having some insanely technical difficulties, but it's all right. We're here now. Anyway, if you are watching this in the future, please like this. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my page, That Christian Sales Guy. Yes, I call myself That Christian Sales Guy because that's who I am at the end of the day. Everything that I do is surrounded by and engulfed in Jesus. And it's an unashamed thing. But thankful that you're here with me in my office on a Monday. I wanted to start this Monday mindset because I think setting our minds straight on Mondays is integral. I think it's very, very important. And I want to bring wisdom, but also a shifting of how we function as salespeople. And I pray it encourages you. I pray it uplifts you. I pray it propels you. And ultimately, I pray it makes you not just a better salesperson, but a better and true follower of Jesus, because ultimately that's the whole reason I have this page is for that. Because if Jesus isn't in the middle of it, I don't want anything to do with it. So yeah, I hope if you haven't followed again, please follow my page. I'm asking you to bring that support because it means a lot. And it's how we get things out into the algorithm, ultimately impact people more for the kingdom of Jesus. Because that's why I'm doing this, is to impact people for his glory. So yeah, let's jump right into this Monday mindset. If you didn't see my tag, which you should have if you clicked into here, I want to talk today about roles versus real. And why I titled it that is because we do a lot of role playing in the sales world. And if you haven't been in sales long, or you haven't done courses, you haven't done these different types of sales conferences where we do role playing. And I've done it plenty of times. It is one of the greatest, by the way, it's one of the greatest ways to stretch yourself and to grow in your ability to sell, and also bring humility, because role playing with especially people you're close with, whether it be fellow salespeople, management, or whoever it may be in your close quarters, it is a phenomenal way to stretch your sales ability. Role playing will really step you out of your comfort zone. So if you haven't role played before, bringing pitches to each other, objectives, different things, I'm telling you, it is paramount to your growth. But I want to talk about that because in sales, so often we get so entangled in the role we play that we forget the real person that we actually are. I've seen this time and time again. A great example is when people get around certain customers and their entire behavior, their entire way of thinking, their entire way of speaking, their entire way of acting, everything about them turns. It's like a 180 shift. I've been around people before where I'm with them and they're one type of way. They may even be high integrity. They're very honest. They're very down to earth, high moral people. They get around certain customers and all of that goes out the window, because what has happened is they've allowed the role that they carry as a sales rep to overshadow the real version of themselves that Jesus created them to be. They lose their identity in their role. And this happens all the time. And my encouragement today is to bring that identity of who Christ is, to get people back to the real person they were called to be, because it's very easy in sales to get lost in our role, to get lost in who we've been trained to be, the different things we've been told to say, whatever it may be. It's very easy. It is very easy in sales to lose yourself completely. And before you know it, time has passed. This is how people end up down some crazy trails, and even down some really, really dangerous paths of sin, because they go down these roles that they play and they lose themselves in it. So yeah, I just really want to dig into that today, because I think it's so important in what we do as salespeople. And to be very frank and honest, I have seen more often than not people that lose themselves than the ones that stay grounded in who they are in Christ. And my prayer is that people will truly run into who God has called them to be. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the real you versus the role that you play as a salesperson, because just because you play a role doesn't mean you have to take hold of it and let it define you. Because most people live I want this to be kind of how I dive into this Monday mindset teaching. Most people live from performance and not identity. The majority of people, especially in this crazy world of sales, they live from performance. And I talked about this last week because we are tied to numbers. Everything we do is tied to sales numbers, whether it be our call numbers, whether it be our quarterly quotas, our monthly quotas, our weekly quotas, even our daily quotas. Everything that salespeople do has a number tied to it, which turns into an obsession around numbers, and in turn turns into an obsession under our performance, because everything that we do is tied to our performance. So once we get into that mindset, now everything else becomes irrelevant and secondary to our performance. And when performance takes hold of our life, identity becomes irrelevant too, because we don't care who we are as long as our performance is high. And I've watched this. I've walked this before, where as long as I could perform well, all the other things became secondary. And my prayer this week and today, as I share this with you all, is that you gain a revelation that your performance should never overshadow your identity. Because early on, even in the very onset of sales, so the first sales job that I ever had, I learned that I had to impress, I had to be successful, and I needed to be approved. And there's somebody is going to watch this, and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything that we do is about approval. We've got to have approval, whether it be from management, from other salespeople, even from clients. And that's where our identity begins to get rooted. So we literally build this false version of ourselves. We build up this version that is a complete fake version of ourselves in order to be successful and for people to approve of us. But oftentimes it's fake. It's not real. It's a completely made up. It's a made up salesperson. I've dug in. Let me tell you this. I have dug into there's some people I've gotten very close with. And when I get to the core of who they are and I actually sit down with them one-on-one, I find out so many things about them that are not who they seem to be on the surface, because they put this facade and this role to portray something in their life so that they can be successful, approved of, that people will buy from them. And when I actually dig into who they are, it almost will break you, because you realize how broken they truly are, because they've lost themselves in sales. So many people will lose themselves in the world of sales because it's one of the easiest places, especially when money becomes the idol in your life. And also, something else I want to share here is roles that we play in sales can hide our wounds. And this is another reason people take that role and it becomes their persona, is because it will hide every wound that we have. Like I just talked about, when you actually start talking to people and you realize what's inside of them and that what they hold on to, you see quickly that they're putting up this front to hide every wound that they carry, their fears, their traumas, their shame, every insecurity. Which, you know what's actually kind of wild that I've seen in any kind of, I don't care what industry it's in sales, most salespeople battle insecurity. And I've battled this myself. Insecurity is probably the highest battle for a sales rep, which is why you'll see them struggle. They'll even if they're confident on the front end, there's always an insecurity on the back end. And if there's not, a lot of times that insecurity will manifest itself through addiction and other things that they do to keep themselves secure falsely. And I've seen this. I'm telling you, I've seen this time and time again. I've seen some stuff in my time being in the world of sales. Man, it's just a powerful thing. And I just really hope today this encourages you to take hold of who you are in Christ. I'm going to say this over and over again, because this is how we move forward as true Christ following salespeople, is to let the real us go out into the real world and let people encounter the real Jesus. And that's my prayer for this Monday mindset teaching today. So realize something, that God doesn't just transform the masks that we wear, because that's ultimately what we're talking about when we talk about roles that we take on. And when we're not being the real version of ourselves, we're wearing masks. He transforms your heart. See, he never works on who you're pretending to be. He works on the heart. He works on who you are. It's like I always say, he works from the inside out. So he's always looking on the inside to transform you from the inside out. So if you're walking in this place of being completely fake and you're playing this role and you're not willing to be real and transparent, it's really hard for the Lord to work on you. So that's really a big encouragement for me, is to drop. I think my word for this point here is to just drop the facade. Like my Monday mindset nugget today is to drop the facade and be the real you. I'm not going to use any names here, but I remember a sales guy that I connected with. And when I got to know him, the version that I saw when he was around clients and other salespeople it was it was hard to watch, because you could just, I almost use the words, you can smell the fake. Like you can just smell it, you can taste it. And anybody that's watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can get around certain people and you can taste the fake on them. Like everything they say, the way they carry themselves, the way they try to pitch the product or service, whatever it is that they bring, you just can taste the fake. There's no authenticity. And this gentleman, when I got to know him, had such a tender heart and an amazing viewpoint on life. He had integrity, he had love for people, but he had let the role of sales completely eradicate all of that. And he turned into this fake person that nobody wanted to be around. And that's the reality, is when we let this role take over the real, we become a person that no one actually wants to be around. We become this person that everybody dreads. You become this salesperson and let me tell you this, you can become so fake in your role that people will buy from you just to get you away. That I'm telling you, there's going to be opportunities you'll see in your life where if you're so fake, some people just want you to go away, and it happens all too often. So it was just a powerful testimony, this gentleman that I connected with, because I saw the real version of him, and it was powerful what the Lord was trying to do. But he had to take hold of that, because the Lord wants to transform his heart. He didn't want to transform the role he was playing. Because here's ultimately what the bottom line is with that, is God can't heal when you won't reveal, because transparency brings breakthrough. So if we're not willing to reveal it, it's hard for God to heal it. That's why so many people hold on to secrets. And in sales, trust me, I know. I've been told some crazy things in sales, some secrets that people keep, and transparency breaks that bondage off of people's lives. I've seen it time and time again. And I also want to bring up this point, that authenticity. I want to talk about authenticity, because authenticity is the gateway to transformation. Being authentic. I love authentic people. I pray to be an authentic person, not just in my faith, in everything I do. See, I don't want segments. I have seen authenticity in church and fake in the sales world. I've seen authenticity with family and fake with friends. I want authenticity to be who I am. So let this be an encouragement and an exhortation to be an authentic Christ follower, especially in the workforce. See, it's easy. It's easy to be authentic when we're at church. I could write a book of names of people that were Christian, that were fake in the sales world, and were authentic when they went to church on Sunday. I want authenticity to pour out of me regardless of where I'm at. And that's my encouragement, is be authentic everywhere you go. And that means integrous, because if you're authentic everywhere you go, it means you're carrying integrity. Let me share this again, or maybe not again, maybe it's the first time, but I say this a lot. I can't tell you how many people I have met in my journey in sales that have the most foul mouth when they're in their sales suit, when they're in their sales world, in their bullpen with their bros, and you get them around their family and they are a saint. It's crazy. I mean, I'm thinking of a story right now, but I've got tons of them. But it's that lack of authenticity. It's fake. You put on this show for the people that you're around because you want to be successful and approved of in the world. But then when you get around your family, you're a completely different version of yourself. Friend watching this, salesperson watching this, I don't care if it's one person. Can I ask you, exhort you, if you are a Christ following salesperson, carry authenticity. See, I remember years and years ago, I did have moments. I had moments where I would act differently, and it was seen and it was called out. I want anyone at any given point to be around me and see the same me. And isn't it exhausting to have different versions of ourselves? Isn't it exhausting to have the role that we have to play and then find the real us when we're around the people that need the real us, but we want to jump into the suit of the role so that we can fit the role in order to make the sale? But it's exhausting. I know it's exhausting because I've done it before. So I am urging the salesperson that wants to walk with Christ to get authentic. Be the same person. I don't care if I'm with customer A, B, C, or family member A, B, C, or pastor A, B, C, or preacher A, B, C, or brother and sister in Christ A, B, C. It doesn't matter who I'm with. I'm the same me. Now, there's transparency and there's obviously professionalism and excellence. All of these things play into it. I'm not saying we go hang out with everyone and spill everything that we have with every person, but we should be so authentic that people now, instead of smelling the fake, they smell the authenticity. They know we're real people. That's who I want to be. That's the salesperson I want to be. I want to be authentic and real, where people know what they're getting. They know that I'm transparent. They know that if I mess up, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm going to own it. I'm going to speak to them about it. I'm going to bring it to them, even if it costs me. Stop with the lack of authenticity. No more fake. See, if I could exhort the Christ following salesperson to one thing today, it would be drop the fake, grab the authenticity, and be who you are. Be the real you. Drop the roles. Role playing is good to grow. It's not good to go. That's a good one liner right there. It's good for growing. It's not good for going. You can't take that to everywhere you go. Let it be something that propels you to grow in your sales ability, and then be the real you. Grab who you are and be that, because people like or don't like you. I think many salespeople get really tangled in their product and service, and it's important. We should love what we sell. We should know what we sell. We should be so able to sell what we sell, but ultimately it's us. People aren't. It's the cheesiest thing we can ever say as a salesperson. They're not buying the product, they're buying you, because you're the reason the product's being brought, and you are the trust or lack of trust that is being brought. So if they trust you, they'll buy from you. If they don't, people smell fake from a mile away. And everybody that is watching knows exactly what I'm talking about. People can tell when you're being fake. So be real. Remember that the real version of you is the one that God chose and anointed. So when you're faking it, you're being a different version than what God chose. You're faking it. You're not being the real person that God anointed to be in this position. I'm telling you, I wish people would understand, because if we want to change the culture, and if we want to change the kingdom, we need successful salespeople. We need salespeople to thrive provisionally and to grow monetarily, because that's how we advance the kingdom. People don't want to talk about money, but I like to talk about money, because money advances the kingdom. It advances the poor all around us. It advances everything we want to do. If we want to care for widows and orphans, if we want to care for the sick, if we want to care for the broken, money helps us advance these things. So my prayer is that Christ following salespeople will rise up and become successful, so that we can advance the kingdom and not the worldly things. That's what I want. But the Lord wants to use you. He doesn't want to use the role version of you. He wants to use the real you, because God didn't call your persona. He didn't call your persona. He called your person. That's actually really good. He didn't call your persona. He called your person. See, a lot of you have personas. You have different. I think sales might be the number one area of multiple personality disorder, but it's not mental. It's spiritual, and it's agreement. I've seen it. Multiple salespeople will have varieties of personalities depending on who they're talking to. Well, this is a big client. I'm talking to a C-suite, so I need to act this way. This is a mid-level client. I may be talking to some VPs, certainly management. I'm going to talk this way. I need to get in with this client. And unfortunately, my in right now is with the field level. I may be talking to some account managers, some lower level reps. I'll talk this way. And we have personas. And obviously we can speak to people that are at different levels. Different verbiage is obviously necessary, but different personalities is crazy. So remember this, that God didn't call your persona, he called you. He called you. Let this be our mindset today. We don't have to change. We don't have to change who we are. We don't have to change our verbiage. We don't have to change everything. Now, you, like I said earlier, you can speak a little differently to different people within the company. I understand that. But changing everything that we are is dangerous, and it will be found out. Even if we do this our whole career, it will still be found out. So my Monday mindset nugget today is to be you. Drop the role, pick up the reel, and be you. Now, I said at the beginning, I'll say it again, like this video and share it, because I want this one this week. I actually didn't know exactly what direction fully I was going to go with the role versus reel, but it took an encouraging level, because that's what my genuine prayer for salespeople is to lose that role that they are and grab the real. Just be like, I want to just be who you are. God called you to this, and stop getting upset. Stop getting upset and complaining about everything, and just take hold of who you are and grow in your God-given abilities and talents and run the race, both in life and in your sales journey, and take hold of it and enjoy it, appreciate it, appreciate the struggles, appreciate the falls, because you'll appreciate the wins when you appreciate the losses. I promise you that. When you appreciate every fall that you take, you'll appreciate the moments you're able to get back up by the strength of the Lord, because ultimately this comes down to an identity issue. And you'll hear me talk about this a lot. Identity is everything. If you do not know who you are in Christ, and you're trying to navigate this sales world as a Christian, it will chew you up and it will spit you out. I hear story after story after story of people that are like, this isn't for me. And sometimes that's true, but a lot of times it's that they put the expectation and they lost themselves in it, and it burnt them out, because it's a hard industry to be in. There is nothing, I'm never going to be the one to say, I hear people all the time, I want to make a bunch of money, I'll go into sales. And it's not just it is a grind, day in, day out. It is a grind. If you want to be successful in any sales, you have to grind, and you have to be willing to put in the work and the effort, but also be the real you, be transparent, carry integrity, be authentic. For the love of everything, be authentic. Please be authentic. No more fake sales, because that authenticity turns to transformation, which ultimately leads to freedom. And then at the very end leads to purpose. When you walk in that identity and allow authenticity to give you transformation, you will get freedom and you will walk in your purpose. So I pray today this encourages you. Be authentic. Don't be fake. Know who you are and walk in it and be confident in it. And as always, as I always say, faith first, everything else will follow. Be sure you subscribe, like this, and we'll see you for the next one.